How's it going, everyone? This is the Anime Man. Unpopular opinions. You hate them, I debate them. So let's fight! That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again to the tea-spilling, bean-spilling, fight-inducing episode of Let's Fight, the show where I take your guys' unpopular opinions that I have collected over on Twitter that you guys use the hashtag Let's Fight on. I take those opinions, I give my thoughts on it, and we fight. Pretty simple. The fact that I'm able to do this series at all is all thanks to your guys' support, so if you enjoy the video, make sure to smack the fuck out of that like button, but you don't know what's in this video currently, so don't smack the fuck out of this like button just yet, wait until the end, but without further ado, let's fucking fight! Komi-san wa komisho desu is underrated and deserves an anime adaptation. Okay, I agree and disagree at the same time. I agree in saying that yes, Komi-san wa komisho desu is especially underrated, even in the manga community, and it's only because of the recent surge of memes surrounding Komi-san, the main heroine, that this series has even gotten any popularity to its name. But I disagree in the opinion that it should get an anime adaptation. If anything, Komi-san wa komisho desu has such a specific style of comedy and art that I think will only really work in manga format. We've all seen the memes of Komi-san with that, you know, very distinct and particular face. Like, I just can't see that image translating well to animation. Not to mention that Komi-san as a character is very nonchalant and doesn't really move all that much, so I really don't think that animation is required in order to translate that comedy over to the audience. I think we can fully understand it through the eyes of manga. Like, again, as much as I fucking love the manga series, there are just some manga series that are just really, really good that sometimes are better off not getting an anime adaptation. Like, remember Berserk? That went well. Street maps in Tokyo are overrated. I'm visiting Japan for my first time and I just learnt the subway map. It wasn't hard like everyone says, and navigate by following the stations. If by street maps you mean like Google Maps, then I don't think it's overrated. Like, yeah, you might have been okay with working the train systems and everything, and it is quite simple once you do start to get the hang of it, but you have to remember that there are a lot of people who didn't really grow up with trains, haven't really ridden a train at all. And for people like that, this whole system of train lines and having to change trains and having to get out of the station in order to go from the JR line to the subway line is such a completely bizarre and new experience to them that it does get a bit confusing. And I mean, in the case with Tokyo, there are so many freaking stations on so many freaking train lines that even as a local, it's pretty impossible to figure out which line you have to go to get to a specific station just from memory. I've lived in Japan for almost 3 years at this point, and I still have a specific app that I use to figure out which lines I have to get to a particular station. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too hard. Oh yeah, this was a show about anime, wasn't it? Seinen anime, for the most part, has more mature story and plot than shonen, and very unpopular opinion, Digimon had a better story and plot than Pokemon, because once you think about it, Digimon dealt with better character development than Pokemon. I love the fact that this person supposedly is aware of the fact that this is an unpopular opinion, but let me just put it straight to you in saying, no shit, Sherlock. Seinen is more mature than shonen. Yeah, probably because seinen means older male and shonen means younger male. The answer is in the question. And concerning Digimon having better story and character development than Pokemon, well, again, that's another no shit Sherlock, because Pokemon is an episodic series, whereas Digimon is a story-driven series. Obviously, a story that is more plot-driven and arc-driven is going to have better story and better character development than an episodic series, because that is what dictates an episodic series and a story-driven series. That's not to say, of course, that all episodic series have zero character development or zero story progression, but, you know, it definitely does serve as advantageous if your story is more plot-driven than it is episode-driven. But in saying that, I have to quickly come to Pokemon's rescue, because I'm much more of a Pokemon fan than a Digimon fan. The reason why people enjoyed the Pokemon anime is not because of the character development or the story progression, it's because it was freaking fun. Pokemon has been a kids show for kids from the very beginning. It doesn't need to have a grandiose story with grandiose character character development because it's not a show that is like that. 5-year-old kids aren't gonna wake up on a Sunday morning and be like, I'm really interested to see how far Brock's character is going to progress. Whereas Digimon, on the other hand, even at the time that it came out, was definitely suited more to an older generation, or a more mature generation who was there for the entire adventure. I mean, just look at the difference between the Pokemon movies and the Digimon movies. The Digimon movies are a lot more mature themed than a lot of the Pokemon movies. So even though I feel a lot of people try and put Pokemon and Digimon as these equals because they were rivals, I feel they're two very completely different series on that aspect. But I don't care what you guys say, I still fucking love Pokemon, so eat a dick, Digimon fans. If an anime contains a yandere, they are almost always the worst girl. Wow. That's an unpopular opinion, alright? I mean that in the sense of like, that's like a conventionally unpopular opinion because fuck, how many like yandere characters have we seen just rise to the top of the waifu charts in the past decade or so? Some of the most popular characters in a lot of anime have been yandere characters like Yuno Gasai from Mirai Nikki or Mion and Shion from Higurashi no Nakakoro ni. And look, as much as I really don't mind yanderes, I mean some yanderes I would argue are incredibly well written. Take for example Kaede from Shuffle, which I still think to this day is the queen of yandere characters. You can fight me on that one. I do have to admit that there are also a lot of yandere characters that are yandere for the sake of the fetish rather than for the sake of the narrative. Like, the unfortunate thing with a lot of these yandere characters is that not many people care about these yandere characters for the plot reasons. They're more caring about it for the fetish reasons, and that's not me fetish shaming or anything. Like, you can beat your meat to whatever you want, dude. But there are more people appreciating of these yanderes because, oh my god, they're so crazy and they could kill me, and that's really hot, versus actually looking at some of these yandere characters and feeling sorry for them and realizing, oh, they're just messed up motherfuckers bent at the mind because of some fucked up shit that happened in their past, and now they want to kill everybody for their loved one. Yay! And even when I say all of that, I still have to agree with the point that, at least with me personally, of all of the series that have these really popular yanderes as like the ones I mentioned before, none of them are necessarily my favorite characters in their respective shows. Like, Kaede is the yandere for Shuffle, but my favorite character is Purimura. Mion is the yandere for Higurashi, but my favorite character is Rena. Yunogasai is the yandere for Mirai Nikki, but my favorite character is no one because every single character in that show fucking sucked. So yeah, I don't really care if you're into the whole yandere thing. I mean, I'm not personally, but again, not gonna shame anybody here, no judging here. If you like yanderes, then go for it. But all I'm gonna say is, if you're one of those boys and girls who look at, say, Yuno Gasai and think, oh man, I really want a boyfriend and girlfriend like that, just don't blame the anime when you end up dead or in jail. Sometimes I hate anime review videos. A few people are saying SAO is bad, but maybe a group like it because they enjoy OP characters having a harem life or A1 pictures in general. I wish people won't say an anime is bad because an anime review video. Listen man, if you watch an anime review, and a negative anime review in this aspect, say someone saying, oh, SAO sucks because of so and so reason, and you let that one video solely dictate how you should feel about the review, then you're completely missing the point of anime reviews. Us anitubers don't make anime reviews to try and convince you that our opinion is right. Again, this is an opinion. It is a personal standpoint that we would like to express to you guys so that you can hopefully listen to what we're saying. I don't think there is a single anime review that is out there to try and convince you that that particular review is solely correct, and that if you don't agree with said review, then you are the problem. Like, let's take SAO for example. I've said a lot of things about SAO in the past, mostly negative, like a lot of anitubers have. But even after all of that, and you still like SAO, I don't give a shit, man. Like, good on you. You like something that I don't like. Welcome to planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen. I could say all of these praises about the Monogatari series, and you come up to me and you say, I don't like the Monogatari series? Fine by me, bro. I still like it, so whoop-de-fucking-do. Don't let anime reviews, whether it be video format, blog format, fucking My Anime List format, which is clearly the worst, don't let any of these dictate how you feel about a particular anime. Put it into consideration that people have these opinions about the show, but make up your own opinions after watching it and analyzing it for yourself. And if you're one of those people who watches, say, a negative review on an anime and has to change their mind about a particular anime, don't watch the review. It's really simple if you think about it. Common sense goes a long way. I think the reason people think Clannad is the best key work is because it got the best anime adaptation, when in reality, Canon and Little Busters are just as good. I would argue that almost every visual arts and key studios work that were written by Maeda Jun are equally amazing for their own aspects. Obviously, my favorite key and visual arts work is Clannad, and that was one of the series that absolutely changed my life on a personal aspect. But that's not to say that all of these other key and visual arts shows are bad. I mean, Canon, Air, Little Busters, Angel Beats, Planetarium, they're all amazingly well-written stories. But obviously, I had a very deep connection with Clannad because of the themes that were told, because of the way that Kyoto Animation presented the anime. But I've loved Clannad ever since the visual novel times, and the way that the visual novel deciphers the story and builds upon the story to its full strength that Kyoto Animation just didn't have the time of doing is what convinced me that Clannad is the best key and visual arts work. But again, I love me some Canon, I love me some Air, I love me some Little Busters, and all of these series are amazing in their own right, but just for me, Clannad was just, it's just that much higher than everything else. Oh yeah, and Rewrite is not good, so there you go. In Another World with My Smartphone isn't that bad of a show, it just got crap because it was just another isekai anime. If that was the case, then how come shows like When I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, or Rising of the Shield Hero, or Goblin Slayer, or any of these other isekai shows that came after it aren't getting shit reviews? It's because In Another World with My Smartphone fucking sucked. Like, obviously not all isekai shows are gonna be amazing, and isekai definitely nowadays is subject to a lot of criticism and controversy, so a lot more than should be. But you just have to realize that with every genre or every setting or every plot point, there is always going to be the shit apples in the orchard. And while there are all of these amazingly well-written isekais, there are also some amazingly shitty written isekais that are just trying to pertain to a genre, aka In Another World with My Smartphone. I mean, look, if you enjoy your mindless harem shows that just have the isekai stamp labeled on top of it for show, then go for it, bro. But people who are into isekai shows usually watch them for the plot, watch it for the way that it aims to expand upon the completely oversaturated isekai theme. And In Another World with My Smartphone's way of expanding on the isekai theme was to throw in a fucking iPhone. Like, it's not good, bro. Mecha as a genre has a whole lot more than could be explored, but I feel like most people look at these as either Gundam, Code Geass, Zoids, and Gurren Lagann. We need more mecha. And look, I completely agree. Obviously, there are personal preferences when it comes to mecha. I know a lot of people who aren't into mecha because they just think, oh, mecha is just giant robots, right? Well, yes, but the amazing thing about a lot of anime genres is that it is so fluid when it comes to how it can expand upon that particular genre. And Mecha is a fantastic example of that. Mecha is essentially just giant robots, but regardless of if it has giant robots or not, you can expand upon that by combining all sorts of other genres and plot points into it. Like, not every mecha anime is just fucking Gundam, okay? Like, if you think that, then you are missing out on a completely large world of mecha that you very much might enjoy. Take, for example, one of the most famous mecha shows, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yes, it does have giant robots in it, but the point of that show is not the giant robots. The point of the show is the existentialism theme that is derived from the suffering and the torment that these younger characters are facing towards in a abomination of a post-apocalyptic world that is surrounding them. If you want to go even further beyond on that theming with mechas in it, then look at shows like Bokurano. Like, if anything, I've found that people actually get into the mecha series by watching an anime not for its mecha aspect. They look at a show like, say, Code Geass or Gurren Lagann or Eureka 7, which are all amazing mecha shows, but don't actually watch it for the mecha and just happen to fall in love with the mecha concept while watching these shows. Like, me personally, I was never really into mecha. Like, I never really grew up with series like Zoids or Gundam because I just really wasn't into the giant robot thing. But then I sat down and watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, Bokurano, Eureka 7, and fell in love with the whole mecha concept because these shows took that mecha concept and gave it a completely different spin on it that isn't just Gigantor. So, I mean, I get it. If you don't like the whole giant robot thing and you're so against giant robots that you won't even step one foot into the mecha genre, then that's fine. But all I'm saying, bro, is that if that's the thing that's stopping you from enjoying these amazing shows that just happen to have robots in it, then that's your loss, bro. Rakudei Kishino Calvary is underrated because of the Asterisk War. Shit-ass show, won't even get capital letters. From a critical standpoint, I give 7 or 8 out of 10, but from a personal enjoyment standpoint, it's gonna be 17 out of 10. I don't think that's how a out of 10 rating works, but I get what you're saying, bro. In all honesty, I actually quite agree with this. I think that Rakudei Kishino Calvary and the Asterisk Wars, which were 2 shows that were airing simultaneously and were compared to each other a lot while they were airing, just there is no comparison. Because while both of these series do fall under the sci-fi school genre that has a little bit of ecchi and romance and harem involved in it, they're 2 completely different shows because of the way that they presented those ideas. What I personally really enjoyed about Rakudei Kishino Calvary is that the series doesn't fuck around with its plot points. Like, the Asterisk Wars basically does the same thing that Infinite Stratos did, where they get a main character who is so fucking dense that he won't realize that all of these girls want to fuck him, and basically pussyfoot around it to try and get through with a plot that is very mundane and uninteresting. Whereas Rakudei Kishino Calvary, spoilers, the guy, like, just straight up fucks the chick. Like, straight up fucks the main heroine, not even near the end of the series. And there is a genuine romance that is formed very early on in the series because the series doesn't want you to focus more so on the harem aspect, but rather more on the serious sides of these kinds of storylines. And I love it because I've read so many freaking light novels and anime series that just pussyfoot around everything for the sake of imaginations of the harem, but Rakudei Kishino Calvary was like, no, this is the girl I want, this is the girl that we're going to focus on, this is the guy we're going to focus on, fuck everybody else out of a love interest. It was such a refreshing take, and because of that, I enjoyed Rakudei Kishino Calvary so much more. Sorry, but this is a long one. People need to stop harassing creators of anime about how they portray women and LGBT. It is a sad fact, but Japan has yet to have the same laws or rights than other nations. And I mean, yeah, we can completely reflect upon this when some time ago there was that whole controversy with the Darling in the Franxx episode, where the directors and the writers and the voice actors were getting harassed because of a certain thing that happened in episode 15 or 16 of the show. If a creator wants to portray a certain character or a certain scene or a certain progression of the story in a way that doesn't quite fit with how the masses want to go with it or how the individual wants to go with it, that's not their problem, bro. It's their story. They're free to write it however the fuck they want, and if in turn that decision fucks up their reputation of a series, then that's on them. But we don't have to remind the creators that they're fucking up. I think they're fully aware just by looking at the stats. And if it gets to a point where a certain decision that a creator does with anything in their creation upsets you so much that you have to go on a rampage online, then just don't fucking consume it, bro. Like, everybody was pissed off when Kubo Taito decided to make the Aizen arc ridiculously long, but we didn't have to go and harass Kubo Taito on Twitter to the point where he had to take down his Twitter account. We could have just stopped reading it, like I did, and moved on with something else. And look, I'm not going to get into the whole, like, how they're portraying women or how they're portraying LGBT stuff, because contributing to that kind of argument is always a losing war, no matter how you decide to go about it. But all I'm saying is that if you don't like how a particular creator is portraying women or LGBT characters, don't fucking read it, bro. The fact that you continue to read it or watch it is just supporting that creator that you hate. Kind of ass backwards, don't you think? The creator gets to have 100% creative freedom because it's their work. So deal with it. I'm fed up with new anime only running for 10 to 12 episodes on average, 13 if you include OVAs, and never getting another season. New anime should instead run for a minimum of 24 episodes, then they wouldn't necessarily need another season. Okay, there are a number of reasons why this argument is kind of stupid. First of all, the reason why they decide to only make anime seasons 12 to 13 episodes long is because they don't know if they're going to make another season. A lot of the times, there are 12 12 to 13 episode anime series that don't end up getting a second season because the initial 12 to 13 episodes were not popular enough to garner a second season. Second of all, the reason why I say series that are 12 to 13 episodes long that have multiple seasons keep going on is so that they can catch up to the source material. Case in point, Attack on Titan, where season 2 and 3 both were 12 to 13 episodes, whereas the first season was 24 episodes. They're cutting it down so that they don't accidentally catch up with the manga. They gotta give Isayama Hajime some time to continue on with the manga before they accidentally run into it, because what happens if they run into the manga? Then we won't have a season for the next like 4 or 5 years. And third and final point, and this may be a little bit more trivial, is that they do it mostly for marketing reasons. It is a lot easier to make a profit by marketing another season in a shorter amount of time, multiple times throughout a time, rather than just one big announcement of one big series. More people are inclined to watch a 12 to 13 episode series because it is shorter than a 24 episode series. And also with the rapid increase of supply and demand for more and more anime per season, it's getting more and more difficult to create 24 episode series because people just want different shit. People want to create more and more anime because we keep demanding for more and more anime. So yeah, unpopular opinion, that's just how the anime industry works now. Get over it. Just be thankful that in the case with a lot of popular series that do garner a second or third season or fourth season or whatever, most of the time they do get another season. So hey, at least we didn't fucking no game no life it. If you remove all of Masaki Yuasa's works from Devilman Crybaby, you're left with just a meh anime that's not that innovating after all. The messages that are being portrayed are not something new. The actual story of it, I find, lacks overall. I can't even with this particular opinion. Like, are you shitting me? Do you realize, sir or madame who tweeted me this, that the reason why a show like Devilman Crybaby is not that innovating as a story, it's because it has been done so many fucking times as a result of Devilman. I don't think this person understands that Devilman Crybaby, the anime series, is based off of Devilman, Nagai Go's 1960s manga from like 50 years ago. Because at the time that Devilman came out, this type of uninnovative story and lacking story that is not original at all was original. Nobody had ever seen a story portrayed with these particular themes in this particular way. And it was because of Devilman that we got other shows that were very similar to Devilman in terms of the messages that were broadcast, in the way that these messages were portrayed in these gruesome, devilish ways. Because this argument is the equivalent to if, say, the Beatles came back and made another album that was exactly the same as the Beatles' first album, and somebody's saying, oh man, these guys aren't interesting at all, they sound exactly like the Beatles. Do you realize how flawed your argument is? The reason why Masaki Yuasa decided to take part in Devilman Crybaby is because they wanted a new, fresh, modern look on an older series. And Masaki Yuasa himself is a huge fan of the original Devilman manga, so he wanted to put so much emphasis on that by making Devilman Crybaby a brand new Devilman. So yes, although the themes and everything are old or unoriginal, because, you know, a 50-year-old series is not original at all, Masaki Yuasa helped in making it more original, making it look more innovative and more timely with his visuals. God, fucking stupid people, I swear to God. Kona Suba was a shit anime. The only reason people liked it is because lol SAO sucks. The whole anime feels like nothing that happens matters. I think the reason why you think that nothing in Kona Suba really matters is because it doesn't. That's the whole point of Kona Suba. It is a satire on isekai shows. The reason why it feels like nothing happens in Kona Suba is because on the grander scale of things, the show is trying to convey to you that nothing happens in isekai shows. And in turn, it is taking that concept and basically making fun of it. And look, I don't get this whole thing about the reason why people think it's an amazing anime because they're against SAO. I know plenty of people who love SAO who also love Kona Suba. So look, I get it, Kona Suba might not be a cup of tea, and you know, comedy is subjective, definitely, but this argument of you thinking that Kona Suba is just there to appease the SAO haters is fucking ridiculous. And finally, Most people say the reason why BL ships in shonen are liked more than the official couples is because of the thirsty fujoshis, when reality is that romance is often poorly written, while the MM relationships are plot relevant, intense, and have chemistry. Look, again, this is a point that is a losing war no matter how you go about it. Like, you don't fight and try to fight logic with fujoshis, okay? Like, I tried to do that with a previous Let's Fight episode on Yuri on Ice, and that completely didn't go anywhere. Look, again, I don't mean to fetish shame or anything. I don't really want to do it, but, you know, like, if people want to stick fucking Bakugo and Todoroki together and don't really care about the actual romantic relationships in a lot of shonen shows, then that's on them. And look, I guarantee that when this person says male-to-male BL yaoi relationships in shonen, they are mostly talking about stuff like Bakugo and Todoroki, or, you know, My Hero Academia and shows like that that do have a large fujoshi fanbase. I guarantee they're not talking about other shonen shows like Ichigo 100% or Tolaveru or any romance show in the shonen genre, because those shonen shows do not have a fujoshi fanbase. And again, I think this person is forgetting that there are some incredibly well-written romance stories and sub-stories in a lot of shonen anime. I mean, I even made a whole freaking video about the best romance manga ever written, and that's from Shonen Jump. Look, again, if you want to fucking write a fanfic about, you know, a bunch of male characters in shonen, then fucking go for it, man. It's not up to me to decide, because I ain't gonna read that shit. But don't just think that all shonen have these, like, terribly written romance, because a lot of the times, these shonen shows aren't focusing on the romance, and because they're not focusing on the romance, somebody or something has to fill in its shoes. And in this case, a lot of the times, it's stuff like fujoshis, putting male and male characters together. But yeah, before I anger any fujoshis with something I may have possibly said in this video, that's gonna do it for this episode of Let's Fight. Thank you once again for joining in, as always. If you would like to participate in the next Let's Fight episode, which I don't know when it's happening, then the best place to do it is by following me over on Twitter and using that hashtag Let's Fight. And when you do send me something under the hashtag Let's Fight, can you please make it an unpopular opinion? Like, you guys are getting, like, pretty lazy when it comes to giving me unpopular opinions, and you're just giving me opinions that very much are popular. Like, that's not the point of this show. Like, this show isn't me taking popular opinions and agreeing with you on it. Like, this is a show where I take unpopular opinions and give my thoughts on why it is an unpopular opinion. But there are a lot of you who consistently give me some great questions for Let's Fight, which I'm always sad that I can't put into a video just for length reasons. So keep doing that, because this show is built thanks to you guys. So again, follow me on Twitter and use the hashtag Let's Fight if you want to join in on the next episode. All the previous episodes of Let's Fight will also be in the description below, so go check them out. And as always, smash that motherfucking like button, because that's the best way to support your boy. And also by going to patreon.com/theanimeman if you want to give me a little bit extra help. But anyways guys, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Like, favorite if you enjoyed, subscribe for more anime banner, keep watching anime. Ciao!